What's up, everybody? Oh, that's hot. Sound's coming in hot. Hope everybody's doing well on this Thursday evening. I see Christopher Whitlock in chat, Justin Gold, Space Tacos. What's going on, Toasty Pops? M Flow, welcome. If this is your first time here while we're getting started, please put in chat. I'm going to hang out for a minute and let you guys kind of get your feet in the water for a second. And then moving forward, I'm going to take these and we're going to edit out the beginning part of us just kind of hanging out, and we'll get right to it for people to watch on Team Replay. They'll get just the content they came for. It is a space cowboy hat, the cosmic cowboy. It says right here on the side. I felt like it was fitting with my neon wolf howling at the moon and the Doctor Who paraphernalia. I like space. Tonight's beverage sponsors are coffee out of a Glacier Park blanket. This was a gift from my brother William. He is a avid hiker and outdoorsman. He has a YouTube channel called Mountain Trash Panda. It's an awesome video where he does hiking and outdoors videos for those that can't get outside. And he sent this. He lives in Kalispell, Montana. So thank you, Bill, for this mug. I'm drinking the coffee out of it. It's good. Is that Nia or Naya? Nia, welcome, first timer. Welcome to the party, pal. Yeep. I'm going to do the sound effects myself today until I get my stream deck set up, right? Use what you have. Let me know in chat while we get started how sound is, how video is. Make sure that you're coming in crisp and clean. I'm going to change some of these settings while we hang out and see where we're at. I kind of like that. That might be for right now. Hey, Justin. I'm really excited for tonight's session. We're going to get right into it here in just a second. We are all about 701 now, SYO-701, and there's not a ton of resources, but I have been blessed with some, and then I've bought some out of my own pocket. And so we've got the 701 resources right now that are hot, and I am excited to launch into that. Thank you, Space Tacos. It's my Bear vs. Bear shirt from good old Wild West Hacking Fest, Black Hills Information Security. Huge influences on me when I first got here. It's been almost a year. The second week in February makes 1 year that I've been in the cybersecurity industry, information security industry. A lot's changed. A lot's happened really fast, but it makes 1 year. It's pretty awesome. It's phenomenal. All right, let's get started. Good evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever and whenever you are watching this. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. I am the Cosmic Cowboy, Jesse J, and over the next hour or so, myself, Toasty Pops, Christopher Whitlock, Nia, Justin Rohr, Justin Gold. Boy, a lot of you here in chat are going to be building community, gaining InfoSec certification insight, and then helping to prepare, most importantly, what you all came for, your CompTIA Security Plus certification, and we are doing the SYO-601 or 701, excuse me. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. I think it's important to thank and give credit to everybody. Yeet! Give credit to everybody that makes this possible. First and foremost, that is all of you. You are Slay Security Plus. You are what make up this awesome movement that we have. Our sponsors, Dr. Jerry Ozier, and the Simply Cyber crew. Huge inspirations for me when I first got here about a year ago. Josh Mason at Mason SC Strong and Courageous, whether it's IT consulting, vCISO services, cybersecurity awareness, reach out to Josh Mason. He's a phenomenal coach and a great person to talk to. Really enjoyed spending some time with Josh Mason. Joe Hudson over at TCM Security, always been a huge sponsor and a supporter of the Slay Security Plus. He's just a sponsor and a supporter of when humans do awesome things. And I love that about Joe Hudson. You're a great man. Love having you on our team, and I love that you help sponsor Slay Security Plus. Our Discord server, Justin Gold, thank you for creating the place for us to get here and do this and to be able to communicate and build the community that we so know and love. We have the check-in mornings. It's really awesome. I wake up, and usually by 4:30, sometimes even early as 3, depending on who's studying, that Discord server is alive with people saying good morning, sometimes sharing stories of triumph, sometimes they're tragedy, but we all stick together. It's an awesome server. So Justin Gold, thanks for bringing me on and letting Slay Security Plus be a part of what you have going on. Our moderators, Margarita Giron, John Vitucci, Taylor, Max, Cyber Hamburger McDonald, and B-Dubs, Brittany White. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you. And then whether you are new here in cybersecurity, trying to change or level up your career, your company is making you get the Security Plus. Our goal is to really gather and synthesize the best of the current study materials available, and then bring you actionable, retainable, and proven test preparation techniques, and build community and have a good time along the way. Really, our goal is that we hope that you're studying for this exam and you're coming here, whether it's at the beginning, the middle, or right before you walk in, and you're going to get some value, some little nugget. You might learn something or reinforce that you didn't know before. And we're gathering this information from CompTIA, from Professor Messer, Jason Dion, out-of-pocket expenses, donations. The community has been really great. We take that information, we synthesize it, and then we bring it to you every Thursday. And then Monday, Tyler McDonald, Cyber Hamburglar, he has his SLAY Security Plus on Monday nights. So make sure you check that out. We will cover every topic in the CompTIA exam objectives in almost the same exact order as they have them listed. We're going to have live anonymous Security Plus quizzes and tests, home labs, and resources that are free to low costs, which I'm really excited about here in 2024. We bring live special guests that range from security titans and industry titans like Dr. Jerry Ozier, Zach, the TCM crew, Joe Hudson, DJ BSEC, all the way to community members who are just getting their start, who have been here for a while. I'm excited to have people like Justin Gold and Space Tacos on the show soon. Really, really excited. We talk real industry versus theory, mentorship. We do some jaw jacking and a whole lot more. And so we got a lot to do, so let's get into it. I'm going to grab some water. Let's rock. Coming hot off of the Simply Cyber meetup. Did anybody go to that? Let me know in chat if you went to that. How long is this going to take for 701 in order? This is a 3-month course. So if you're just getting here in day one, I'll try and edit this and throw this when I put this on YouTube. So if you're just getting here day one and you're going to take Security Plus and you've decided that you're going to, in fact, do the 701 exam because time has moved on and that is the exam you're taking, I'm hoping that you're getting here and this is a great place to start because we are, in fact, starting with Domain 1 1.1 today, and we will go all the way to 5 point whatever. And we are planning to do it in right around 3 months. So our timeline is 3 months. So if you're just now setting those goals and getting that accountability system set up that we're going to talk about, that a timeline of picking that date and setting it so that you have those parameters, you have that date to keep you accountable, and so that you actually take your exam and you study and you have a litmus test, something to measure up to. 3 months is about what we're going to do this. Space Tacos coming in saying, SLAY Security Plus, FYI, I have nothing to talk about except nonsense. That's why we love you. We love you because sometimes you have really fantastic, pertinent things to say to the cyber community, and sometimes you're here just to give us inspiration, and sometimes you're here just to make us laugh, and we love you, Space Tacos. Yep, Simply Cyber and Dr. Gerald Ozier are awesome. They are indeed. All right, SLAY Security Plus values, I think I already outlined it, but if this is your first time, I want to make sure that you hear this from me. We have an inclusive community. It is truly zero to hero. You can just be starting your exam preparation or getting into cybersecurity, because while we do specialize in passing that Security Plus certification, one of the other things that we do with our live guests and just the model of SLAY Security Plus is we explore all avenues of cybersecurity. And so you can be a zero all the way to hero. You are welcome here, and hopefully you find something that you take with value with you. It's freely available and or low cost. And so I always want to keep it that way. That's how Black Hills inspired me, and the Good Doctor inspired me, in TCM Security. Those were some of my inspirations really when I got here a year ago, and I kind of still stick to them. No BS. We do industry tested methods. Really, we try and stick to scientifically tested and industry tested retention strategies and memorization techniques so that you can study this stuff, retain it faster, get on with your life, and get to those home labs and get in that hands-on experience that employers are looking for. Tony Paris, Justin, it is 61 degrees tonight in Jupiter, Florida. Lucky for you, it is 42 here. It'll get down to probably 18 tonight. Rhonda Rummerfield, I passed my exam on December 17th. I haven't had the opportunity to thank you for helping me meet this goal. Rhonda, you're very welcome. I hope that you were able to gather something from us. I love having the people come in and say that they passed using Slay Security Plus and Professor Messer, and I see like Jason Dion, and I see Slay Security Plus and my name with those people who are huge influences on why I started doing this in the first place. And it's really cool to see that. So super stoked you passed. Hey, John Vitucci, it's good to see you out there in the East Coast. Are you still slinging that drink? By that drink, I do mean Monster. And then we also pride ourselves on everything at Slay Security Plus being actionable. That means if this is your first day one and you're just now opening those CompTIA exam objectives, that you can start studying today. You can start highlighting exam objectives and writing things down next to them, typing things down next to them, that you can start applying these study tips that we're going to go over here shortly. You can start doing that today, so it's actionable. And then we are a We Greater Than Me community. I like to get other people involved. This is all about you guys. It really is. I love doing this. I plan to do it for a long time and take it to that next level. And so, yeah, let's rock. Okay, first thing, commit to a date. Make sure you're picking that date. This is from last year's presentation. Make sure that when you say, I'm going to take my Security Plus, that you are picking a date. Why is picking a date so important? I've said this before. It gives you accountability and a timeline. When you have a timeline, it gives you this place to say, here's my beginning and here's my end. And then you can judge everything in between. You can say, well, I've got 5 domains and I plan to do this test 4 months from now. That means give or take, and you can look at the percentages on CompTIA.org or CompTIA.com. They have the exam objectives, which we'll go over. And you can see those percentages and you can kind of guesstimate about how much per domain it's going to take you to study. And this may be coming from a general IT background with no cybersecurity specific education. When I got here, I had very little. I knew about some password concepts, but I wasn't by any means a cyber professional. But I did do some Try Hack Me rooms. I started to study for Security Plus, and I've mentioned this before, and then I actually pulled away and did Try Hack Me rooms, Blue Team Level 1, so that I would give myself kind of context, because at the beginning I was studying Security Plus, and it was really hard. I'm a doer. I need to hear, see, and then do, and then I'll usually retain really, really well. And I found that when I was studying for the Security Plus exam last year, that at the very beginning, I was studying and I was learning these concepts and they sounded so cool, but I had no way to apply them. I didn't understand what it meant to actually do the stuff. And so I went and did some Try Hack Me, some really fundamental Try Hack Me rooms, a few Blue Team Lab online preparation, and then did Security Plus in about 2 months. And so I kind of did come with no knowledge, used Try Hack Me to get some context, and then went back. And having that timeline by picking a date and then tell a couple friends, have an accountability system. And this way you really prove that you're all, like I say in this slide, all bark and no bite. I struggled so much. It's so broad. I'm here to support for future Security Plus members. Hey, thanks, Tony Parrish. You know, one of the things that I really like about 701 that I think they did really well or are doing well is I think the 701 exam takes away some of the minutia, getting lost in the nitty gritty. And it really is a nice, I've said this before, but it's a nice honor ramp, and it's a little bit more focused approach from security concepts into threats and vulnerabilities and mitigations, into implementation, then into kind of that management, and then into GRC. And there's a lot more of that GRC emphasis from a bird's high level perspective than there was in the 601. And I think you guys are going to find, as we navigate through 701, I think you're going to find the on ramp is just a little bit more hip. I think CompTIA listened to the testing community because they've got input from a lot of big corporations, helped kind of do the 701 exam. Space Tacos, just like Jesse said, he does 3 steps. Last one being hands-on, super important to learn and know that about yourself. Yeah, just to be able to explain it, you've heard it a million times at this point in 2024. There's enough YouTube videos that have said it, but I'll say it again. The more that you can do hands-on, the more that you can do building your labs out and be able to explain that to a hiring manager, the things that you do, the steps and the concepts that you applied speaks volumes. Don't ever let someone else dictate how you learn. That's the signs of a garbage teacher. Absolutely. Everything I'm going to tell you is really just something that worked for me and a lot of other people. If you have other methods or resources or inspirations, or maybe this is your first time hearing you go, just Jesse, guys, not for me, that's fine. I hope that you go find Professor Messer, Jason Dion, Josh Mason and I are actually putting together a phenomenal Security Plus course that we're really excited to launch here soon. Ian Neal has a course. So there's courses for everybody. At the end of the day, I want you guys to get out there and slay this certification so that you can stop with the multiple choice, fill in the blank memorization, and get to the hands-on stuff. We want to slay Security Plus and move on, right? Okay, this is kind of how this is going to roll. We're going to start with domain 1, and this is going to be recorded on YouTube. So if you're joining us, like I said, for the first time, welcome to domain 1. We like to start with a practice exam. There's not a lot of practice exams out there right now for 701. You can buy the CompTIA has one that's pretty pricey. But for right now, we're going to use the resources that I have, which is some of the practice questions that I've built and engineered with the help of some of the CompTIA resources and Professor Messer resources. And so we're going to use the questions, and we're going to still apply this. This is from 601, but the application is still the same. Okay, so we are going to, it's really important that we understand. Is it back? Check 1. There we go. That should be back. Let me know if we're back in chat. Let me know if we're back in chat. Look, I got this little bit of bebop hitting behind me. We can throw it down a rap, maybe slay some Security Plus. Anyways, practice exam. Then you want to document your results. It's really important. I remember when I was studying for the first time, sometimes I would get a question right and I would be really excited about that, but I would have gotten it correct for the wrong reason. That can come back to bite you. It's these practice exams, whether they're just practice exams or practice questions, whatever you want to call them, they're only meant to simulate the real exam, quote unquote, and they're to get your brain thinking, right? No practice exam is going to be the real thing. So it's really important that you just get familiar with your strong areas and your weak areas of Security Plus. Okay, then you're going to go back and you're not going to focus on the areas that you're already good at because that's a waste of brain space. Okay, that's just a waste of processing power and bandwidth. Do targeted reading and video watching of the areas that you're not so comfortable on. Then you'll quiz and review yourself when you come to the Monday and Thursday night Slay Security Plus, as well as other. Professor Messer has a phenomenal live study session that he does. And so you're quizzing yourself and you're seeing where you are in this timeline and comparing to where you are on the objectives. And you keep doing this process of practice exams, documenting the results until really you're hitting this 95% of correctness in all of your practice work. And at that point, you should be pretty good to go in there and to slay the exam, knock the ball out of the pack. All right, let's go. Sorry I'm late. Dinner ran long. Well, I hope dinner has good cardio, or at least does some running on its own. It'd be a bummer if not. Professor Messer is absolutely free, which is awesome. Right now, Professor Messer has a whole slew of videos. He's got actually all of the 701 videos have been released on Professor Messer's website. So make sure that as we're studying for Security Plus, I'm going to be here going through objectives, like I said, domain 1 through domain 5. What I'm doing is going to be a lot more getting us through the course so that you can hop in at any point, take some value, build some community, but at the same time, you're getting that in-depth study. If you're having an issue with some of the questions, you're getting them wrong repeatedly as you go through the course with us, that you could go to Professor Messer or you could go to Jason Dion, who I think still charges for his courses, but you go to professormesser.com and you could get that in-depth study. Let's take a look. If you're brand new to Security Plus, it is a maximum of 90 questions. That's going to be multiple choice and performance-based. Let me get this a little bit bigger. The recommended experience is a minimum of 2 years experience in IT administration with a focus on security, hands-on experience with technical information security, and broad knowledge of security concepts. I disagree with that. I went in with very little IT background. I just, like I said, did the Try Hack Me rooms and got learned up really quickly. I think I could have probably studied less had I had that background. But again, you're going to want at least 2 years of that knowledge. That doesn't mean that you have to have the time. Okay, I tell this to people a lot is go take the Networks Plus. course material on Professor Messer for free, and go take the A+ course material. You don't have to sit for the exams, but get yourself up to the speed so you can be speaking the same flipping language. Beep. Sorry, Kennedy. All right. Domain 1 is general security concepts, and that's only about 12%. So this first bit that we're gonna fly through that first bit. Threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigations is 22%, and so we'll get a little bit more in the weeds on that. And from my experience, these percents are really accurate. Or yeah, when I say really accurate, I mean like they're pretty close. They feel close. Security architecture, 18%, 28% for security operations, and then 20% is going to be security program management and oversight. That's going to be our GRC portion and that management portion, excuse me. And so I'm really excited to have that included because I think it's key to cybersecurity, being a well-rounded practitioner. And better yet, remember, we're getting Security Plus so that we can go into the workforce and get a job, right? And so having an understanding of security program management, oversight, some GRC principles makes you a better candidate. And that's what this is all about. So just so you know what we're going to try for today is we're going to get through all of 1.1. We're going to come through confidentially the CIA triad. We're going to get through non-repudiation, AAA of authentication, authorization, and accounting. And we're going to go all the way down here to to gap analysis. We're going to stop at zero trust. And so we are going to go really close to the exam objectives. I have a course map that I'm working through right now that actually takes zero trust. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth and take that further and later in the course. So we will not miss it, but it'll come here in a few weeks. All right. So just so you know, like I said, we're going to get through 1.1 and then this first part of 1.2. And then as you can see, when we look at the Security Plus 701, we went from a really smooth, this is just basic security concepts, so that you have an idea, into how it affects a business, to public key infrastructure. So you have and now we're going into these threats and vulnerabilities. So it's much more of a smooth on-ramp. All right, 701, we're going to start with that. Domain 1.1. Start with security control categories. I'm going to take myself out for just a minute. Is good. Oh no, then my voice goes away. That's right. That's what happened. Do it like this. Okay. All right, security control categories. You have managerial, operational, technical, and physical. Let's talk about this just a little bit. Managerial has to do with admin controls associated with security design. So administration controls. Whenever we talk security control, this is really good, especially to remind us when it comes to the vernacular. And if you're just getting in the industry, when you hear security control, what do they mean by security control? A security control simply is any technology or system or policy, any method of doing something that protects the CIA triad, that goes to mitigate attacks, that goes to protect. Okay. That's what we're talking with security control. So a security control can be managerial, it can be operational, technical, or it can be physical. I'm doing the cardinal sin of drinking coffee when talking, and it makes your vocal cords dry. Bear with me, folks. Thank you. Okay, and so we have managerial, given oversight of a system. We're going to tie all this together here in just a second. And then we have operational. These are controls that are implemented by people, the day-to-day operational stuff. This relies on a person for implementation. And then we have technical controls. These controls are usually systems. They're hardware, software, firmware. They're implemented in operating systems, software, and security appliances, right? And then physical security controls are exactly as it sounds. These are devices that mediate access to premises and hardware, right? These are our bollards. These are our fences, locks. That could be security guards. And as we get into these security control categories and then talk about security types here in just a moment, you're going to find there is no hard and fast rule. Hey, what's going on, Marvin Meltz? Good night, Slade team. Are you leaving? Did you just cut in and leave? Let me check out the chat. What's going on? Everybody's just slaying it in here. ZMF, welcome. So this is out of 601 too, but they've just refined it and repacked it here in 701. Technicals are systems, hardware, right, software, firmware, and then physical is as it sounds. When we look at this pyramid, we can see managerial up top, operational here in the center, and then technical and physical at the bottom. While it is kind of a top-down thing, right? If we think managerial, they write the policy, standard operating procedures, and things like that that end up getting put into place. While it is them that do that, they then, right, we have operational, which is the people that do the work, the person who puts together the security awareness training, the guards checking, the person checking IDs at the guard shack, the receptionist desk. Those are people doing things. Those are people-led, operational, day-to-day, people initiated, okay? Then we have the technical and we also have the physical. Those can also be people initiated in that managerial writes the policy, standard operating procedures. These get brought down from top down. Then we have our security staff. They're the ones, the people that are implementing them, and they implement either technical, or physical controls. And so we can kind of see how this pyramid goes with these descriptions, really. Controls implemented by people, managerial, admin controls associated with security design give oversight of the system. So they're coming down with the policy. People are putting them into place. And then we have different. So you could have operational, and we'll see that here in a minute. We're going to go over a nice little diagram which will line that out. But you could have operational and technical blended, physical and operational, or managerial, right? So it's nice how they work together, and CompT does a good job asking you questions that delineate them so you're not getting thrown all over the place. Then we have control types, right? So we have categories and types. Categories and types. And this isn't a huge percentage of the exam, but again, this is that fundamental beginning. As we know in cybersecurity, they are building blocks and they build upon one another, right? And so a preventative, detective, and corrective. If you could come in and have any takeaway from anything that I'm going to tell you in this particular slide, understand that preventative is before the attack, detective happens during the attack, and then corrective is a control functional type that happens after an attack, right? Here in this diagram, we see time of intrusion attempt, the preventative measures, maybe an IPS or a firewall. Well, bummer, they got through. The hackers were smart. They were hacksaw. Elite hackers, right? Elite hackers dropping that code, and they got into the system, compromised it. It detected it, identifies attempted or successful intrusions, operates during the attack, and tries to give you information about that attack. And then we have corrections, and that is the mitigates following an event. We also see these other functional control types of directive, deterrent, and compensating. Let's look at those a little bit more. The other set of security control types that we were talking about are directive, deterrent, and compensating. You can think of directed as enforces rule of behavior. And so this, again, we see the guy in the suit, and he's our C-suite, maybe our CISO or our certified information officer, and they're handing down the policy. It's a directive, it's a rule, it's enforcing. Even a directive can be, I believe, a directive can be a logical directive. So something in a software, a rule in a software, a rule in a firewall that's going to enforce a rule or behavior. You have deterrents. Deterrents are typically psychologically discourage intrusions, right? Warning signs, splash pages on websites, login banners, things that are warning you when you try and log in. Those are going to do, oh man, I probably shouldn't do this. And then we have compensating, and compensating control types substitute for a principal control. I put a battery here because the example that comes to my mind is uninterrupted bulk power supply, right? You've got your main or battery backup. You've got the system. It's on the grid. There's a power outage. Well, that compensating security control so you don't lose data or lose business continuity, that compensating control would be that battery backup, right? It comes back in. Backups might be looked at. Data backups could be looked at as a compensating control. So we've got control types. To summarize, we've got control categories and control types. We've got these four main control categories, and then within the control categories, we have the control types. At first, it does seem like a little bit to kind of get your mind wrapped around, all put together. Lazaro Rivera, what is going on, my dude? Welcome to the party, pal. It is good to have you. I really enjoyed the Professor Messer Patrick's exams. Felt like the closest thing to the real exam, Tony Parrish. I agree 100%. I had a person who took it. They didn't have the exam, and they were about to crush it anyways. and I gave them a copy to take a peek at, and they said, oh man, I wish I would have had this when I started my Security Plus journey. I do agree. And I did reach out to the people on the Professor Messer server, and they said that the professor will be launching, what is it, a rocket? He'll be releasing Professor Messer will be doing practice exams for 701. Those are just in the works at this time. Currently on Professor Messer's website, you can buy his notes, the free videos, and then everything else for whatever reason, which this is new to me, is all of the CompTIA stuff. How we doing on time, folks? 5:30. We're cruising. 7:30 for you on the East Coast or whenever you are. We have these. Okay, remember, preventative before an attack. Prevent. That's really straightforward. Detective, during. It's happening during. You're detecting it and getting information about it. And then corrective, operates to responds and fixes incident. Oh, look, there's a typo there. I need to put a space there. Responds to and fixes an incident and may prevent its reoccurrence. Okay, so that's something about the corrective we have to understand, is that may prevent its reoccurrence part. And so CompTIA will extrapolate, they'll extract that some of those key phrases into their questioning. This is a handy dandy grid that Professor Messer, the kind professor, put back, and we Robin Hooded it. And so I apologize, sir, but Robin Hood's got to do what Robin Hood's got to do. We have technical, managerial, operational, and physical. And you got, folks, you can find this video footage. This is on his domain 1 video. Excellent video. Highly recommend for some more in-depth study. And so that's where this is from. Go to professormesser.com to check that out. But we see a technical, managerial, operational, and physical, right? These are categories, and then here's our types. Look, we can have a technical preventative measure, right? The technical, it's a firewall because it's probably, let's assume it's software, but we're software based on this one, okay? Or maybe it is hardware based. Either way, this technical is preventing something. It's a technical preventative control type. We have deterrent technical, a splash screen, right? Detective, system logs. These are technical. So as you can see, as this axis goes this way and this, you meet in the middle. Managerial, demotion, right? Maybe a demotion of your permission, demotion of your role gives you less permissions or less authority, access, all that kind of good stuff. Managerial detective, review login reports. Okay. Managerial compensating, separation of duties. Operational, reception desk, property controls, contact authority. These are all day-to-day things. Guard checks, a guard checking IDs. This is being done by a person. And then we have physical. We have preventative physical control types and categories. We have deterrent, warning signs, physical, right? Motion detectors, fire extinguishers, power generator. Here's that compensating control type we were just talking about in that previous example. That walks us right into the information security, the CIAN, the cyan triad or quadrant. I guess it'd be a quadrant, but it is still the CIA triad. And they're kind of using, from what I understand, they're using AIC triad in some communities. I am relatively new, so I haven't heard that one as much, but they are using the AIC triad to differentiate and to help not confuse people who are just getting the industry about CIA, right? Central Intelligence Agency. In a nutshell, and you've probably heard this a million times before, but it is part of the domain objective, so let's get right to it. Confidentiality, integrity, availability, and non-repudiation. What are those in a nutshell, in one sentence? Confidentiality can be summed up as information that should only be read or accessed by authorized persons. If it's not yours, or you're not supposed to look at it, it ain't your business, right? It none your business. Top secret files. Confidentiality is pretty straightforward. To expand on that, when I study for these exams or when I'm studying to retain and learn a concept at the same time as I am studying to take a test, I try and think like an attacker and I try and think like a defender. So I think of confidentiality. Information should only be read by authorized person. And I take it to just a really basic level. Red team, hacker is going to try and break the confidentiality by accessing that information, right? The defender is going to protect that information by setting, having the access control lists done properly, okay, right, and implemented correctly. And here, integrity. I got this little infographic of information being sorted into a filter and then put into a hash symbol. Integrity, a lot of times in our case, in our world, has to do with hashing, but data is stored and transferred as intended, and any modification is authorized. Need to stretch that out as well. So we see in integrity, all that is saying is that the integrity, the information or data, is in the exact same way as when it was sent, and if there was anything that was changed within that data set or in that information, that it was done by the person who was supposed to and had the authority to make those changes. So integrity, it's whole. The data has not been modified. Availability. Information is accessible to those authorized to view or modify it when they are supposed to. If I'm thinking, going back to integrity, I'm thinking, when you think of defending, you think of hashing, right? When I think of red teaming, I think of, let's say, passing hashes, okay? Availability, that has to do with making sure the information is there for people to access when it's supposed to be, there for them. Ransomware, not gonna be able to access your data. I like CIA, makes cyber nerds seem a little bit more like MIB. Wish I could have one of those memory scrambler thingies. Me too. Who do we use it on? Our pets? And we will talk more about non-repudiation, but non-repudiation really has to do with this concept of when you send something over the internet or you send a document, sort of like a contract, okay, that is saying that it was you that sent it and that you are in fact the one that created it. Non-repudiation is a way, let's say we'll take an email, and we'll get more into this with PKI, but we send an email and I want that email to say, Space Tacos, you're hired. Okay, so I'm going to send that plain text, and I'm going to take that plain text and I'm going to use a hashing algorithm. We're going to put them together, and out from that is going to be my hashed plain text. Okay, that hashed plain text now is saying that this was created by me and it hasn't been modified. And then I attach a digital signature to that email that says you're hired. I send that email to Space Tacos. Space Tacos computer gets that email, basically de-encrypts it so that it can read the email, and then it sees that digital signature. That digital signature is fact saying that Jesse is the one that made the information and he is the one that sent it. I cannot deny doing it. It's a way of accounting, making sure that the people are sending and having accountability for what they sent. No change in data equals integrity equals non-repudiation. Verified. You got the job, baby. My memory already scrambled like eggs. Man, we eat a ton of eggs. I started hitting up the gym again, which has been a great experience. And that means a lot more eggs. We're getting towards the end of 1.3. Exciting, because we're getting into some live quizzing here in just a minute to wrap things up. Let's talk about access controls. A little bit of death by PowerPoint, but modern access controls are typically implemented as an identity and access management system. And I wanted to go back. Let's go back really quick. When I talk about like the non-repudiation, and Professor Messer makes a great point when I think about the industry, and you send an encrypted email or you are sending a digital signature, that's in all those processes about hashing and all of that stuff, that's all done under the hood. You're typically just either putting in a command line, a short command, but most people are just checking encrypt mail, add digital signature, right? That's what you're doing. But the process, what's happening under the hood is that hashing and that digital signature, right? So let's get into identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting. Identification really has to do with that process of creating an account or ID that uniquely is going to represent that person. Case in point, you get a brand new job, you usually get your security code and some kind of badge or whatever during the onboarding or enrollment process. That could be considered part of that identification process for identity and access management, right? That identification has been created. Then with that authentication, that's proving that you are who you said you were, the person that got hired, indeed, that was given that badge. People might be authenticated by providing a password. A computer system could be authenticated using a token, such as a digital certificate. Authorization determines what rights subjects should have on each resource, right? So this file is categorized top secret. When I got my job, they put a label on my identification that says I can only access just user information, okay? And so when I try and do that, this has been marked. This is like the example of mandatory access controls, right? This has been marked as top secret, but my level of authority is what determines whether I can access this, right? And it only goes up to user information, so I cannot access this. I don't have the authority. Here we go. Look at this. In a mandatory model, rights are predetermined by system-enforced rules and cannot be changed by a user within the system. For example, in a discretionary model, the object owner can allocate rights. You know, you've seen that in files on Windows. Click, change permissions, read, write. Go back, reset. Accounting, and that tracks the authorized usage of a resource or use of rights by a subject and altering when unauthorized use is detected or attempted. So accounting can maybe be part of that non-repudiation. Here's an example of that coming to you straight from the kind folks at CompTIA. Identification, the system owner confirms the user's identity and creates an account to represent the user, okay, right? So now they are security ID 101 with their password triple hash. They are the user. The authentication here shows the user authenticates by entering the credential and comparing it to the hash credential. So we see our password getting put in, the hash matches, ping. All right. And now our authorization, here we see that represented by the security individual. His security ID is 101. And this access control list on this file says that he can in fact read, but he cannot write to this file. He does not have the authority to read or write to those, or he does not have the authority to write to that file. And then we see the accounting or the security ID who's tied to this identification up here, the audit log. So any controls that were made, that non-repudiation says that it in fact was security ID 101 and it was the person that did make those changes. The system tracks permission usage in the log. The user cannot prevent this auditing. Are we feeling like a fire hose yet? Because we still have a section of quizzing, and that'll see where we're at. And then, of course, we'll start with some review when we get back to it. Frameworks and gap analysis. Folks, all a framework is helps organizations choose and set up security controls, okay? They prevent organizations from building security programs without considering essential concepts. And frameworks enable organizations to assess their current cybersecurity capabilities, set targets, and prioritize investments. Let's look at a real life example of what that looks like. NIST 5 functions. So look at the 5 functions of just the NIST cybersecurity framework, right? What is a framework? Well, the framework just outlines things that you should do. A framework, when you think of building a house, you've got a frame that you build things onto. Cybersecurity is no different. We have frameworks that have been established. So we look at the 5 functions of the NIST cybersecurity framework, and they have some different frameworks for small businesses and different things, but we're going to look at the general NIST cybersecurity framework. Around that, we have identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Look at the identify portion, because these are some of the things that might pop up in the exam. Identifying part has to do with identifying that physical and software assets within the organization to establish a basis of asset management program, right? We have those files within our workstations and at our work that says, brain mush, missed that part. I have to learn the MITRE ATT&CK at my new job and realize how important it is. It is important. There's some good labs too on Blue Team Labs online you should check out. But identifying, right? This goes into identifying what we have, risk assessments. And then we want to protect what we have. We want to be able to detect what's going on, ensuring anomalies and events are detected and the potential impact is understood. Managing detection process. That's going to look like different things for different agencies, right? Or for different organizations. The detect process of the NIST cybersecurity framework is going to look different in a small mom and pop business than it is a medium business across town on downtown on Main Street, right? But they're still going to have to do those same functions, are still going to apply. So then we have respond and recover. Respond having to do with mitigating those activities, and they're performed to prevent the expansion of event and to resolve the incident. So we're looking at incident response, ensuring response planning processes are executed, what's our business continuity plan, what's our incident response, and then recovering. So you have these, that's just an example of a framework. Going back to frameworks help us identify where we should put our controls. Okay, and then we see gap analysis. Well, a gap analysis is it's the analysis of looking at differences between an organization's security systems and framework requirements, right? Aiding in compliance and improvements. And here's an example of, there it is. Here's an example of gap analysis. We identified that we have, here's our CIA triad risk levels. Let's look at asset management. They realize that that is something that they need. They've got a level of 6 here. Quarter 4 is our target remediation. So, right? So we're looking at gap analysis. All of gap analysis is looking at data set, looking at where you need to be in your security posture versus what you have kind of right painted against the framework that you're using. A lot of HR stuff finally out of the way, but so many tools to learn. AWS, Azure, Rapid7, to name a few. Man, we're excited for you. Congratulations on that new role. That's super cool. Super cool, bro. All right, that wraps up that domain. We flew through that information. What is going on, Dax Acton? Good to have you, my man. We just finished domain 1, all the way to 1.3-ish of the Security Plus 701 exam objectives. We got down here to, where did we get to, folks? Got down here to gap analysis. It's good to have you in chat, brother. Let's get started with some live quizzing. Bear with me while I log into my vvox.app. That is where we're going to be doing our live quizzing, which is a fully anonymous way to test yourself and not dox yourself. Test yourself without doxing yourself. Heck yeah, Security Plus for the win. Hey, Dax, I've really gotten into coding and programming. I forgot to tell you about that. That's what I've been kind of learning is for Haiku. There's a proprietary little scripting language that was developed by the engineers. It's based off of Miniscript, which has kind of forced me to learn a little bit of C-based derivative languages. And I really enjoyed getting into Python and HTML, CSS. I didn't think I would like coding, but I ended up really, really enjoying like looking at code, malware. So I don't know, man, I'm really enjoying in that whole web app process, that whole web development process, the way the whole web works, I think is really fascinating. So I don't know, man, I really love, I love coding. I really enjoy programming. It's super fun. Yeah, program all the things. I really want to look into making haiku rooms. We need you, John. Hit me up. They are working on some fixes and some updates that are going to be launched where we can actually collaborate with our friends and other business, like other people. Like I'm a contract employee, so I having a boss that's keeping me accountable to creating rooms. But I know they're looking, I think, for some other people to come on at least to help develop those rooms. You can get rooms with probably your name on it. Collaborate. It's a great way to learn networking. I mean, TCP networking. It's a great place to learn HTML if you want to build some in-game websites, some scripting languages. So it's really a great opportunity to learn a lot of valuable skill sets. Yeah. Okay, present full screen. I'm saving up as soon as I can, ladies and gentlemen, for a nice computer so that we have really nice streams. Believe me, I am excited. Let's get going. Let me know if you want to keep chat up during the testing. We can take it out to give more room for the test questions to be up there. Actually, let's do this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are to the testing portion of our SLA Security Plus session phase. If this is your first time joining us, go ahead and download the vvox.app or go to, vvox.app, and our ID tonight is 127-975-233, or no answers in chat, Messer at Jussie. No answers in chat. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. Thanks, Kenneth. Or you can scan the QR code with your device, and it should take you right to this quiz. If you could please not put answers in chat, or try your best not to. That way it avoids the lemming syndrome where somebody might be one way or the other, and then you may sway them in a direction. This works best with your interaction. And again, this is anonymous. I don't get to see who's choosing what answer. If I want to look, the most I can see is a graph of about the percentage of which answer is getting selected the most. But again, this is a great way to test yourself with the information you just learned. If you need to Google these questions, go for it. Again, this is all about learning. Here we go. Toasty Pops, a security engineer for a small financial firm, is trying to explain the importance of security to the company's stakeholders. The CEO feels the company does not need permissions added to the shared drive. What security concept should the engineer explain to the CEO to ensure the security of the shared drive? Confidentiality, integrity, availability, or recovery? We've got quite a few questions dialed up, and I told the family that we're going to keep this to an hour as close to, being that we got through that introductory portion about studying. Moving forward, the SLA Security Plus sessions are going to move a lot quicker, but it's going to be a few minutes of JACKIN, and then literally we're going to launch right into the study content and then right into testing, and we're going to rock that all the way to Domain 5. So buckle up and let's slay. Wait, that's a wrong triad, Evan. Only an hour today, hour give or take, and then these will be part of, because we're going to launch into some haiku stuff as well, but we will probably get pushed out to closer to an hour and a half as we launch into 701 full speed next Thursday. Domain 1 to 1.3 is a pretty quick read, but then we're going to start getting into a little bit more tricky concepts. Sus. Well, let's look at this question, break it down a little bit. Kelsey Pops, he's the security engineer, okay? The CEO feels they do not need permissions added to the shared drive. When we talk about the shared drive, we're talking about that authority piece, right? We're talking about the right person being able to access information on that shared drive. And so availability has more to do with the information being there. When I think of that integrity, that component, I think of information being changed. But more than anything, I think confidentiality, right? Making sure the right people can, in fact, access the information, or the right person is supposed to. Confidentiality means that only people with explicit authorization to access the information can read it. This type of authority involves setting permissions for files and folders. Integrity refers to storing and transferring data as intended and authorized. Availability refers to information that is readily accessible to those authorized to view or modify it. And recovery is the last part of the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. I love NIST. Cybersecurity framework, which refers to the implementing cybersecurity resilience to restore systems and data if other controls cannot prevent attacks. The owner of Taylor's Burgers restored from backup and wants to better understand file permissions. A particular situation occurred, and even though there are permissions on the shared drive, why does the burger shop still not know who deleted the file? The security engineer explained to Taylor that enabling file auditing would help pinpoint all changes to the shared drive and who made them. Who made them? How would this help prevent the lack of knowing who changed the files? Confidentiality, non-remediation, non-repudiation, or availability. Those are your choices. You guys like the music in the background? I do. It helps me a ton. Like Jerry was talking about his streams, how when he does events, he puts music on. I'm similar when I used to do different events or set up for different things. Always had some kind of fun music playing. Bueller. Bam. All of you that answered correctly, because we see there's a lot of keys in this question talking about who made the file, who made those changes, and to prove who made them. Non-repudiation is in fact the correct answer. Good job, crew. Tunes are perfect. I use it while working. Great, JR. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. Love having you. A newly hired CISO, or Certified Information Security Officer, is implementing the National Institute of Standards and Technology NIST cybersecurity framework. Remember that framework that we just looked over? What first function would help the CISO better develop the company's security policies, such as acceptable use policy, or AUP, and build out recommendations for security controls? Also, as we're doing this stuff, whether you want to type it out or open up the 701 exam objectives in their window and mark them up yourself. But you can start knocking out these acronyms every time you tune into Slay Security Plus, Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can knock out these acronyms by keeping track of them. Which first function? And you can look it up. Remember, if you remember, this is great. We'll go back and look at it. And that could have been me building the question out incorrectly. But that's what we're here to do, right? So no, absolutely, Christopher Whitlock. I appreciate the go to town on that. What is that first control? What is that first component of the NIST cybersecurity framework? Identify. 87% of you said identify. Let's see what the correct answer is. Survey says identify. The identify function in the NIST cybersecurity framework refers to developing security policies and capabilities. When we hear policies, we think managerial, right? Acceptable use policy, managerial. So at this test, immediately take your head and start wrapping other concepts in with the stuff that you're learning, right? So we think, oh, we see administration and policies. We can start automatically thinking managerial. And Christopher Whitlock, I'm not going to leave you hanging. We will go back and look at that question so that we get it right for future exams. But for now and for brevity's purpose, I want to just keep moving along. Margarita, security engineer, is implementing the NIST cybersecurity framework. She is assessing the company's security posture to identify deficiencies from the framework's recommendations. What process can Margarita run to better understand what the company needs to improve on? Implement business continuity plan, a penetration test, implement disaster recovery plans, or implement a gap analysis. I like the Blade Runner Ambient 2. Obviously a fan of that film. That was a great movie. Both the old original, shouldn't say old, I'm a hashtag old. Both the original and the updated rendition are good. Seven of you have voted. Of the 11 that are playing so far, 8 is jumping up. Let's look at some things in the question and it'll probably help you answer. She is assessing the company's security posture, so where they are at right now, to identify areas that need work from a framework's recommendations. So she's looking at the NIST cybersecurity framework that we just looked at, and she's looking to identify what they have versus what they should have. Let's see what the survey says. Gap analysis at 60%. Implement a business continuity plan, penetration test, and implement disaster recovery plan. The CISO will be preparing a gap analysis report. This report will show the defects in the company's security posture against the NIST framework. A business continuity plan would significantly improve security posture, but the CISO is verifying that what currently exists, not what should exist. However, this task may show up as a remediation step during the gap analysis report. So if you chose continuity plan, you're not necessarily wrong. Remember, in a lot of CompTIA exam questions, they're going to be looking for what is the best answer for the question that CompTIA is asking. Maybe not necessarily in the grand scope of cybersecurity. And so that is one of those things where we have our special guests that come on, like BSEC, like Josh Mason, like Joseph, that can say, hey, in the exam, it does tell you to learn this, but in the real world, it may work this way. And that's what he's saying is, yeah, the business continuity plan may show up in that gap analysis report. But then again, just like penetration testing, implementing disaster recovery plan, implementing a disaster recovery plan would likely be a remediation step for any defects the CISO finds during the analysis. See, the CISO does the analysis, they see there's no auditing going on or any penetration testing. You can recommend a penetration test in your gap analysis, but that's not necessarily going to be, how do you know? I was having a conversation with Eric Taylor one time about doing penetration testing, and he said, well, you need to know what needs to be broken. And so you need that gap analysis to see where they're at to begin with before you can even really understand where you're at. Well-known local small to medium business wants to better define the account creation process during the onboarding process of new hires. The account creation during the onboarding of new hires. It is looking to ensure that the new hires have the right applications, file permissions, and security controls implemented ahead of time through automation. What modern access control implementation would best aid in the company's account creation process? IAM, or Identity and Access Management, LDAP, or Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, CISO, or Certified Information Security Officer, or CTO, Chief Technology Officer. Gap analysis sounds like GRC to me. Boom. Reopen. Reopen. I reopen the poll. Thank you, Evan, for telling me, because I didn't realize that I did that. But I did. And I fixed it. You can vote. Let's go. Oh, definitely. Stigs and sys have better baselines, way more in depth than Security Plus. Yep. I appreciate all 27, 30, 45, 50, 65, however many are here tonight. I appreciate you being here. I know there are other places that you could be on a Thursday evening, whether that's with your families or watching John Hammond do his thing. You chose to be here with us, and I cannot tell you how much that means to me and the Slay Security Plus family, because I love doing this. I love being here. Let's rock on with a couple more questions, and I'm going to go make some Dina. I don't know what I'm going to make, though. I've been craving some Japanese pan-fried noodles, extra spicy. We want to implement identity and access management, making sure that it's the right persons, the right file applications, the right permissions. Which is something that has permissions, and you want to make sure you're going to the right places. That is a protocol. That's the lightweight directory access protocol, in which in that capacity. The correct answer: the company typically implements modern access controls as identity and access management system. The company would want to implement an IAM system to ensure the proper creation of accounts and their associated permissions. You just had hibachi. Nice, J Gold. With the good chili sauce with the rooster. You mean sriracha? I want some pho. Oh, dude. John Vitucci taking me down memory lane. When we were at, when I met up with Angela from TCM Security at Costco in Denver, her and her wife graciously bought my house, because I was staying with Casually Joseph and John Vitucci. She bought us a box of this pho from Costco, and it was so good. So good. Okay, my family has been patient and supportive. I love them so very, very much. I want to honor your time as well. And so let's do this last question. Feel free to go back and review this, and you can compare that to anything else that's out. I would love to make sure. Oh, just got bumped off. That's okay. We're back. Let me know how this worked out for you. Drop in chat. Hit me up on Discord. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Let me know if we missed anything and what we could do better to prepare you for your Security Plus journey. But we are going to rock through Domain 1 and keep on going. What component of modern access controls determines what rights subjects should have on each resource? Authentication, authorization, identification, or accounting? Tom Yum, dude, we've got a place here called Tai Chi. I worked at it for a short period of time. I was a delivery driver, and then, I was a delivery driver for him. It is all handmade Thai food. I remember watching them slice the carrots off, just slice actual carrots into a pan for each dinner, and how fast it was with the quality. Anyways, they have a spicy Tom Yum. Oh, the shrimp Tom Yum. Ooh, spicy too. I get it Thai hot. What component of modern access controls determines what rights subjects should have on each resource? Authentication, authorization, identification, or accounting? Jesse is starting to skip. The sound is skipping like a scratchy record. That is usually my cue. Let's rock through this question. Love me some Tom Yum. Let me know if I'm back in session. I want to finish strong. Let's see what the survey says. Yep, network is authorization. You guys finished strong. You're absolutely right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about 6:15. Thank you so much. 6:15 my side time. Thank you so much for turning into Slay Security Plus. We're only going to get better and go farther together in these exam objectives. I hope you found value, and I hope you pick an exam date and you tell somebody that you can be accountable to, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else. Christopher, thanks for joining everyone and your time, Jesse. I look forward to the rest of the series. Me too. I look forward to bringing it to you. Next week, I'm trying to think of who our special guest is. It might be Space Tacos. I know we got Tyler from Work Smarter coming up. We've got Justin Gold coming up. We've got Dr. Ozier coming up in March. We've got Zach from TCM Security. I need to touch base with him and circle back on getting him on the program. But we've got some special guests. And again, we're going to fly through all of the domains. I love it. I love it. I love it. You guys are awesome. You are Slay Security Plus. I am Jesse J. And until the next time, take care of your mind. Stay safe. Stay secure.